Hi everybody, my name is Dr. Sian Barber and I'm the Programme Director of Film Studies and Production here at Queen's University in Belfast. I want to welcome you to this introduction, and I'm going to be talking you through our programme, showing you a little bit of video footage so you can get a sense of what the programme is and how it could be relevant to you. Okay, so first of all, why Queen's? Why would you want to study at Queen's University in Belfast? A couple of things. We're a member of the Russell Group of top 24 research intensive UK universities. So we take research very seriously as well as teaching. There's some university rankings there which indicate where we sit in those kind of tables. One thing that might be more relevant perhaps to you is that it's really cheap to live here as a student, which is really important because you've got to look after the pennies when you're a student. Okay, so Belfast actually has the lowest student rent in the UK, and there's some really great places to live in and around the university. Another thing to mention is that Queen's has some fantastic buildings, and they've invested a lot of money into the campus in recent years, into making it a brilliant place to study. So a couple of the images here on bottom left is the library, bottom right is the graduate school. And as you can see, there's a lot of really interesting spaces and places on campus. And the campus is actually in South Belfast, so we're right in the middle of the city. So why study film studies at Queen's? One thing that we think is really important is this mixture that we offer of practice and theory. So we probably say the course is about a 50-50 split of actually making film and learning about film. You have teaching from highly qualified staff, and I'll be talking about different specialisms that we all possess in a little while. But another thing I want to emphasize is the facilities and the spaces that we actually have. The QFT, the Queen's Film Theatre, is an art house film cinema, and you can learn so much about film by watching it in the correct environment, by actually watching it in the proper resolution with decent sound and in the correct kind of space. So we have access to the two screens in the Queen's Film Theatre. Screen one, which is quite big, sits up to sort of 250, and then the smaller screen, which seats about 80. And we do a lot of our lectures and our screenings in those spaces. We also have a film studio, which is fully kitted out, a sort of black box, which sits behind the QFT. We also have a range of post-production suites where you can do your editing. We also have an extensive equipment store. So you can actually hire out microphones and cameras and dollies and all the kit you will need for you to undertake your projects. We also have access to everything that's in the library, not just books about films, but also a really extensive DVD collection. Another reason to study film here is that it's a really interesting time to be in Northern Ireland, particularly for the creative industries and the screen industries. And we're sort of tapped into a lot of these new initiatives, things like Future Screens and City Deal, where there's a lot of investment coming into the region. And that means that as well as really interesting projects to get involved with, there's lots of opportunities for our students to gain experience through things like work placements, to get an understanding of what the industry is like and how it's changing, how it's transforming, and what that means for you all going off to work in this particular industry. What are the sort of skills of the future that you're going to actually need? And we have links with a number of film festivals that take place in the city every year. Also a range of cinemas, also NI Screen, who's one of the key funders of the region, and BBC NI. I want to now move on slightly, and I'm going to play you a little video which includes some of our graduates talking about the course, the good things, the positives, and the way in which they apply what they learnt on their course at Queen's in the real world. Okay, so we're just going to play that for you now.
I think what's unusual and really productive about the undergraduate degree at Queen's is the fact that it brings together history of cinema, criticism of cinema, theory of film with production.
Our programs really try to be a marriage of theory and practice, of filmmaking, hands-on filmmaking, with a real emphasis on employable skills, work placements, internships, the kinds of things that get people jobs.
If you want to be a filmmaker, you're going to build on foundations. You're going to build on a history. You're going to build on genres, audiences, funders. If you don't know that foundation, you're not going to be a very good filmmaker.
We're very happy our BA in Film Studies and Production is ranked #1 in the entire United Kingdom.
When you start our degree, there is no assumption you have skills already, technical or theoretical, so we start from scratch.
We love students who are passionate about films, who love cinema. You get people in a room talking about film, getting excited about cinema. That's the most amazing thing about film.
We try to make sure that the students have a well-rounded experience that really immerses them in a film culture and community.
We're really lucky here at Queen's because we have great facilities. We've got the film studio, which is only a couple of years old, fully kitted out. We also do a lot of our teaching in the Queen's Film Theatre, so you're actually being taught about film and watching film within a cinema.
During the course, we bring in professional industry experts, directors, editors, script writers, researchers, producers. They give master classes to the students.
I think what's really good about it is that you get to see that everything you're learning and everything you've done up until that point hasn't been for naught. Like, it's possible to do film studies and go out and get a job in Northern Ireland.
The screenwriting course, it's actually come in really handy with my current job, working with the scripts. When you're working on a TV series, the scripts are ever changing. It was good that Queen's gave me that first look and a safe place where I could kind of take a script apart, go into detail about story beats and what way it should be formatted, you know, really basic things that I was able to step into a job and already know.
All of our modules across the board will offer the students increased transferable skills in research, analysis, communication, in articulating their viewpoint, constructing an argument.
We want thinking filmmakers to emerge from our program, not merely people with technical skills, though those are so important, but people who can employ those technical skills in a thinking, intellectual way so that they can be the next generation of directors, producers, writers.
In advanced film practice, we offer each student the opportunity to develop a short screenplay or a documentary or experimental proposal. Then, in the second semester, we select from all of those proposals 8 to 10 projects, which will be produced by the students. At the end of the year, we show the 8 or so projects here in the Queen's Film Theatre.
We're here for the final year screening of our films that we're working on.
It's a real fun process because you get to be, everyone has a distinct goal because everyone wants to make a great short film. So it's a great unity.
Well, I was the writer and director for the short film Lost, and Louise was the producer. And I think as the director, there was lots of transferable skills, communication skills, organisation skills.
I was working just with one of the students this year, Joshua, who was doing the editing, and we travelled to Nova Scotia in Canada. I was the director, the writer, and a bit of everything. Developing it here with Richard, he was really supportive and helped streamline the idea into something workable in a short time.
Instead of a dissertation, I did placement at a production company based in Belfast, and got to go out and shoot, learned a lot about, broadcast quality cameras. Any work that I've got outside of university, the lessons learned in here have been invaluable out there in the real world.
It's a friendly business, and I've not met someone that's not willing to teach you. If you're enthusiastic and passionate, there's always going to be someone that will help you.
Belfast itself is a really exciting place to be in terms of the explosion of interest in filmmaking.
I haven't been out of work for longer than a week since I graduated. I went to London for a job on Transformers, which was really exciting. The people who are graduating now are actually really lucky. Everyone that comes here to make a TV show or a film, they're always really impressed with the level of the Northern Irish crew. They've probably all studied at Queen's University.
Okay, so that was a little video that brings together some insights into what our course actually offers and the kind of things that you can expect to be doing. Okay, I thought it was really interesting as well in the video, a couple of our students, former students, talking about transferable skills, because it's really important not just to think about it as I want to learn how to direct or I want to learn how to edit, but to think about the different kind of skills that you'll be acquiring. When we speak to employers, a lot of the time they say we want sort of people who are very creative but who can be organized and who can be succinct and who can analyze and can take an idea and run with it. They want people who can think essentially. So that's what we try and deliver. But a little bit more about how the subject area fits now. So we're part of the School of Arts, English and Languages. We currently have 10 full-time members of teaching staff with a range of different specialisms. And when we teach to those specialisms, my personal specialism is British cinema. So I teach modules on British cinema. I also teach controversies and censorship as part of our MA programme. We're also supported by 2 full-time technicians who are in charge of our kit store, and then there's teaching assistants and industry practitioners and professionals who come in to give masterclasses and to support teaching. All of that's really useful for our students because they get a sense of a range of different ideas, but also what is expected from you when you go into industry. You know, what are the different standards? What are the different expectations when it comes to technical training and software? What can you learn on the job, and what do you really need to have when you walk through that door? We also do things like CV workshops. What do you need to kind of get yourself noticed in a good way? And how can you get your foot in the door? So lots of support in taking and helping our students sort of take the next steps. A little bit about how the course is put together. Because of the nature of what we do, the teaching methods vary. We have studio lab-based practice workshops, which are in quite small groups. We also have sort of seminars and tutorials, which are more discursive, so they may be slightly bigger groups. But the optimum idea is just to be able to talk things through, safe spaces, no idea too silly, and to have sort of really lively discussions. Lectures, as I say, take place usually in the QFT, in one of the screens, and that's fantastic because the lectures can then contain lots of critical ideas, also lots of clips, moving image, sound, to help sort of tie some ideas together. Screenings are a fundamental part of what we do. They're not just an opportunity to see the film, they're an opportunity to see the film in context in the correct viewing space. Another thing to really point out here is the importance of group work. It's very tempting to think, I'm going to be a filmmaker, I'm coming in, where is my camera? We do a lot of group work. You know, very rarely do people get to make projects alone. So you have to be able to work with others. And that's actually a really useful transferable skill as well. If you get work on a film or a TV set, it's going to be unlikely that you're going to be there by yourself. Okay, so group work is really important. Another strand of what we do, which we expect, is an element of self-study. Certainly on some of the more theoretical, analytical modules, for example, the dissertation, you are expected to go away and watch things, read things, sort of generate your own ideas. Okay, we'll be there to facilitate that, but there is an element of self-study. So lots of different ways of learning. This is the way that the course is broken down. Okay, so in your first year, it's a leveling of the playing field. We don't have prerequisites for the course. We don't expect everybody to have studied film or moving image before. So everybody coming in will be given an opportunity to sort of get up to speed. Okay, so in semester 1 of the first year, you take Introduction to Film Studies, which is a sort of theory course introducing you to the broad ideas of studying film. Introduction to Film Practice, which is more technical, but which goes through sort of cameras and lighting with you. And then you take a further module, so 3 modules in each semester. The further module in the semester 1 can be anything from across the arts, humanities and social sciences faculty. So you could take a module in anthropology, or you could take a module from English or from history. It's whatever interests you. And the idea there is to keep your options open, to not make it too narrow too soon. In semester 2, Introduction to Film Studies, which is another theory module, but that focuses on sort of European cinemas and sort of new waves of cinema, so sort of Polish New Wave, French New Wave. Visual Studies Theory and Practice, which is a sort of combined theory practice module looking at all different ideas about the visual and the opportunity there to do a video essay instead of a standard essay. An editing module, which will get you up to speed in terms of different editing packages and software, but also to really think about how different styles of editing are important. How do they differ between film and television, for example, but also what you're trying to achieve through editing. Okay, so that's how first year looks. In second year, it becomes slightly more individual. You know, you can start to pursue the things that you're really interested in. For example, we have a very strong sort of documentary non-fiction strand that runs throughout the course. And if that's something that you're really interested in, there's modules which will allow you to do that. For example, in the second year, you could take documentary film and then non-fiction film practice in the second semester. All these other optional modules are there so that people can study the things that interest them. all of these, of course, are allied to the things that we're interested in as well, our research specialisms. So it might vary slightly depending on colleagues being on research leave. So this is how it looks at the moment for the next year, for September, but it might differ slightly depending on people being away on leave. In semester 3, this is what it's all about in terms of film practice, because in year 3, not semester 3. In year 3, this is what it's all about in terms of film practice. This is about making your 10-minute short. So the way that practice works in the 3rd year is that you take a single module in semester 1 and then a double-weighted module in semester 2. And in semester 1, you you come up with your script, you work in groups, you develop it, you pitch it, to a range of panelists, including representatives from NI Screen, who will give you feedback on it. And then you'll be working in groups to deliver that in semester 2. So it's a really nice arc of planning, development, pre-production, production, and then post-production. Alongside that, you can take full year optional modules, such as the dissertation, which is an 8,000-word exploration of any topic of your choice, or a work placement. The work placement option is very popular, and you have to do about 100 hours of placement at your chosen employer, and you have to compile a dossier of material about it. You have to do a presentation at the end of it to say what you got out of the placement, what your role was, all those kind of things. Other optional modules in the 3rd year, again, are drawn from our research specialism. So there's something on British film, there's Hollywood, ideas about film authorship, film and music, and cinema realism and modernism. So those are the kind of things that are open to you on the Film Studies undergraduate programme at Queen's. Okay, I'm not going to go into detail about all of this because I could talk about our alumni successes for about a week and a half, because I'm always so excited when a student gets back in touch to say, look what I'm doing now, it's really exciting. But just to pick out a couple, Zoe Tweedy up there, top left in the red dress, that's her winning an award at the Belfast Film Festival. Her BA film, her undergraduate film, which you saw a clip from in the promotional video, Nomad, was actually selected to be the official choice, the official selection at the Isle of Man Film Festival. Zoe's now doing really well, and she keeps in touch now and again to let us know what she's up to. On the right of your screen, you see students winning prizes at the RTS, the Royal Television Society Film Awards. We always try and put in as many different applications, submissions for that film festival as we can. Okay, and Cambodian Spring was a film made by a student who was here slightly before my time, so I don't know them personally, but it's always really exciting to see somebody actually breaking through, and it's a really, really fascinating documentary. Okay, 2-Minute Masterpiece is a competition that's run in collaboration with BBC and with Northern Ireland Screen, and it's about asking students and young people for their ideas about what would you make. If you had to make a 2-minute film, what would you make? For many years, this was about promoting women's work and female contributions to the screen industries. In recent years, they've opened it up so it can be anybody, but you have to be a young filmmaker. That's the idea, or a screenwriter, or a producer. Okay, and we've had a lot of success of this with this particular scheme in recent years, and it's fantastic because Christine Morrow from NI Screen and Lisa Dulucia from BBC Arts and I come in and they talk to the students about the kind of ideas that might be suitable. They show them submissions from previous years, and the way that this scheme works, that if you are selected, they usually select about 6 projects to take forward. What they usually do is they give them a budget, give them an industry mentor, and the final pieces are brought into the BBC, where you can work in the BBC editing suite with a BBC professional who can give it that sort of final polish, and then the finished pieces are actually screened on BBC Two as part of the arts stream. So it's really quite exciting, and as I said, we've had some great successes there in recent years. Some more of our graduates. These are some people that I do remember. I think I taught all of these people. So obviously I can claim their successes. Jo Russell was really interesting because she went into teaching. She works at a college in London and she blogs about film. Marty Cullen basically talked his way into the BBC to make radio programmes on things that he cares about. One being trad music. You know, he literally travelled around Ireland north and south, looking for interesting stories and recording them and playing with different musicians. Lauren did her work placement at Kaboom Productions, post-production in Belfast, and then was taken on there permanently. And then Sean Murray won an RTS National Award for his film Fractured City. So a lot of really, really brilliant successes. And like I said, I could talk about all the student successes for weeks and weeks and weeks, because everyone's doing fantastic things. I think it's really important, though, to emphasize that it's not just about getting into the screen industries. You know, it's about the transferable skills. It's what you do and how you take that away with you. This recent graduate, Ben, worked at the information there. You can see what he's up to at the moment. But actually, he did his placement in industry, and I think it was at either at Deloitte or PwC. And when he was there, he was doing all their in-house video software, and he was actually kept on a short-term contract after he graduated, so that he could help them rework all that kind of video software stuff. And I think that's important, because it's not necessarily heading off to Hollywood looking to be the next Tarantino, but it's using the transferable skills that you have to think about how creating film and moving image can actually be useful in loads of different ways and in loads of different contexts. Another graduate, Caitlin Finlay McGovern, she got on a training course, this Northern Ireland Aim Higher scheme, and that was fantastic because it gave her the opportunity to really test out what she wanted to do, what different things was she good at, and how could her skills be developed. And again, Caitlin keeps in touch and sort of drops me a line occasionally and lets me know what she's up to. But it's what I found quite interesting there is that she's actually managing to work across the board in terms of television, but also different formats. Okay, so don't think about it just in terms of I'm going to be making film and film as feature or film as documentary. Film can also be a set of skills. Some lovely student feedback. Some of the feedback I find really fascinating. Some of it I find quite amusing. I love the comment about old films being almost as good as new ones. But the important thing to take from all of this is that we really try and deliver to the students something which is going to stand them in really good stead going forward. So don't just think, oh, it's just coming and watching a bunch of films. When do I get to the practical classes? The integration of the course is such that everything that we do in the practical classes can be explored further in the theoretical classes, and the analysis that you're doing in the theoretical classes will help improve your practice. Okay, so it's connected, and actually a lot of the students do pick out the connectedness of what we do, which is really, really positive. So that's the end of the presentation. Okay, thank you very much for listening to me. There's more information on the website, so just follow some of those links and do get in touch if you have any particular queries. Okay, thanks for listening, and hopefully see you maybe one day in Belfast.